coconut oil is one of the rare plant sources of saturated fat, normally only found in animals, which tends to increase LDL, or bad cholesterol, the #1 risk factor for our #1 killer, heart disease. So, hey, you want to try coconut oil on someone with Alzheimer's for a few days to see if it makes a difference? Fine, God, I'd try almost anything. But if, as expected, you don't see any improvement, I'd be hesitant to keep anyone on it long term. Now, those selling coconut oil say one needn't worry, because coconut oil contains a saturated fat that doesn't raise cholesterol. You hear the same thing from the beef people. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association is always going on about how beef contains a saturated fat called stearic acid, unlike those evil saturated fats palmitic, myristic, and lauric acids, which do increase blood cholesterol levels. Stearic acid has been shown to have a neutral effect on blood cholesterol. Now see, that's true, and beef does contain stearic acid, but guess what? It has twice as much of the palmitic and myristic, which they just admitted does raise cholesterol. It's like Coca-Cola saying they know for a fact that soda doesn't make you gain weight because Coke contains water, and water has a neutral effect on weight gain. Yeah, but that's not the only thing in it. And the same thing with beef, and the same thing with coconut oil. Years ago, I profiled this study that found that cholesterol levels were significantly lower during a coconut oil diet, but only when compared to a butter diet. You know you got a problem when the only way you can make your product look good is to compare it to diets rich in butter. Yes, it made bad cholesterol go up, but not as bad as butter, but how much is that really saying? Now, that was all the science we had for 10 years, but 4 new studies have recently come out, a population study and 3 clinical studies. The population was of Filipino women, and although those that ate the most coconut oil had worse levels of bad cholesterol, those that ate the most coconut oil were also more overweight, which alone can raise your cholesterol. When the fact that the coconut oil eaters were eating more calories, were more overweight, when that was kind of factored out, the rise in cholesterol lost statistical significance. To really control for factors, though, you've got to put it to the test. The first clinical trial involved giving people 2 tablespoons of coconut oil a day for 3 months, and their bad cholesterol went up a bit, but not significantly. During this time, though, they were all forced to lose weight by being placed on a calorie-restricted diet. When you lose weight, your LDL should drop naturally. The fact that it didn't on the coconut oil suggests an adverse effect. The most encouraging study was this one, an open-label, meaning not blinded, no control group pilot study, in which 2 tablespoons of coconut oil a day for a month added to their regular diet did not worsen their cholesterol, though when tested in a better-designed study, a randomized crossover trial, coconut oil did significantly worsen bad cholesterol. Hence Walt Willett's recommendation from Harvard, if you're going to use it sparingly. Now look, if you're eating so healthy that your LDL cholesterol is under 60 or 70, then it may not be a problem. Unlike saturated animal fats, coconut oil doesn't cause that spike in inflammation immediately after consumption of animal foods, which makes sense because, as you'll remember, it may be the dead bacterial endotoxins in animal products ferried into the body by saturated fat that are to blame. In this study, for example, they compared the effects of chocolate cake made out of coconut oil, flaxseed oil, or cod liver oil on the effects on inflammatory markers. Not much change in the inflammatory gene expression for the coconut or flax cakes, but cod liver oil cake may indeed be worse. Those that tend to profit from coconut oil claim it has miraculous powers, curing everything from cancer to jock itch. Perhaps the boldest claim may be as a potential cure for Alzheimer's, based on a series of anecdotes and one study. Study of the ketogenic agent AC1202. You can certainly make money selling 20-pound buckets of coconut oil, but even more selling some kind of patented supplement, which is what this is, a concentrated form of the medium-chain fatty acids in coconut oil purported to be the active ingredient. At first, it looked like it was working. But by the end of the study, any effect it had disappeared, though there was one genetic subgroup where it appeared to be working better, but when that group was properly randomized, even that effect disappeared. So the only such study ever done on concentrated coconut oil components found little effect, and no studies have ever been done whatsoever on Alzheimer's and coconut oil itself. As the Alzheimer's Association put it, there's no scientific evidence that coconut oil helps with Alzheimer's, and hey, the coconut oil promise has been around for more than 3 years. If the administration of coconut oil was indeed beneficial, it would presumably be shouted from every mountaintop, and not just the mountains that sell coconut oil. And that's all we know so far. Why don't we know more? There have been over 1,000 articles published on coconut oil in the medical literature. The problem is they're studies like this. Did you know coconut oil enhances tomato carotenoid tissue accumulation compared to safflower oil in the Mongolian gerbil? It includes nuggets like this. The testes of the coconut oil-fed animals weighed significantly less than those of the safflower oil-fed animals. Who says coconut oil isn't effective? How else are you going to shrink the testicles of Mongolian gerbils? Coconuts may not really be nuts, but they are a whole plant food. People don't typically eat whole coconuts, though, so let's break it down. Coconut oil, widely touted on the internet for its health properties. Coconut milk, which is now being used to make a variety of non-dairy products, and dried coconut flakes. Now, none of these should be confused with coconut water, which is the fluid inside coconuts, which, interestingly, is so close in composition to human plasma, in an emergency, you can use coconut water intravenously. You can literally hook up a series of coconuts and drip them right into you. So if you're ever on a desert island and just happen to have some IV tubing laying around. Anyway, coconut oil. Harmful, harmless, or helpful? In terms of what it does to our cholesterol, it is as harmful as butter.